Welcome to Eventful Endeavors, secrets to crafting the perfect celebration. If you're planning an event and looking for useful tips from industry experts, you're in the right place. So get ready to take some notes and we'll dive right in. This is Eventful Endeavors.
Hello. All right.
Hello.
So I'm excited. I love Lake of Isles. I've golfed there. I've been to Foxwoods, of course, many times.
Sure.
And it's a beautiful course.
Yeah, it's so pretty right now too, because everything's starting to get really, really green. We have like the sunshine and all the spring weather. So I'm really, really excited to see what this year is going to bring with everything.
Amazing. Honestly, it's the perfect weather this time of year where things are opening up.
Yep.
Starting to get into spring.
Yes. It's starting to stay lighter later, which is amazing.
Right. As soon as it hit daylight savings, it's like, oh,
I know. It's like freedom almost.
really, truly.
Now, do you still golf at all, or do you dabble here and there?
I dabble. I've never been a crazy golfer.
Sure.
But yeah, I do dabble.
Nice. You'll have to come back out.
I would love to. Yeah.
Yeah, you're more than welcome anytime. Just let me know.
Thank you. That would be great. It would be good to meet you in person.
Likewise.
So I just kind of wanted to talk about some wedding stuff in terms of some trends that you're seeing. What have been some just current hot trends that you're seeing with weddings?
So the biggest one that I get this like year after year after year, and it's like almost like a constant trend, is signature drinks. And now what people are doing is signature drinks, but they're including it for their pet, like their dog or their cat and stuff like that, which I love. Like, I'm an animal person, so I love when I see a little drink stir with a little dog on it for their signature drink or something like that. So that is honestly the biggest trend, because not all places will allow you to have their four-legged friend as part of their ceremony or on property. And that's a big question of me too. And me being such an animal lover, it kills me to say they can't be a part of the ceremony. However, you can bring them here to do photos. We only allow like a certain amount of time, but we've had several people that do that, and it's great. And it's, it's part of their family. Dogs are part of their family at that point. So it's amazing at that. But I would say including the four-legged friends is the big one.
We love the fur babies.
Yes, I definitely do.
I love when people, their entire family including the four-legged family members.
Yes. And then some other trends, honestly, are you start to see kind of like different trends in the colors that people use. And a lot of times, you always think what the color is going to be, right? And this year, I never thought that it would be, called the Dresden blue. It's like that light baby blue. That's a very popular color. And then more simplicity with centerpieces and more simplicity with decor. I think people are just really more focused on spending all that money on, the food, the dancing, and all of that. They don't really care so much about centerpieces that much anymore. That's not to say we don't have people that do the big centerpieces and elaborate centerpieces, but they definitely do more simplistic with like candles and greenery.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
People are kind of picking and choosing where they want to do all of the...
Exactly.
That's cool. I have to look up Dresden blue.
It's literally, I don't know why it's called Dresden blue, but it's like if you were to have a baby shower and think of like the light blue, it's that color. It's almost becoming more like a neutral color. Like it's almost turning into almost like a navy blue of things. Because it's interesting. Like I wouldn't normally say that, but I've kind of seen every color with it now, they all go very well. It's just kind of like a neutral color, but look it up. I'll be curious to see what you think.
I will, you know what? I'll get back to you because now I want to see all the beautiful Dresden blue dresses and Dresden blue flowers.
Yes. It's like a dusty blue.
It's pretty.
Yeah.
It's a boy. I mean, it's a wedding.
I know. It's almost like denim though. It's kind of like a denim.
Okay. So a little more muted.
Yes.
Now, in terms of what about things couples should never do, like some cringeworthy stuff you've seen?
Cringeworthy stuff. God. Signature drinks. No, I'm teasing. I think there is a thing of too much decor. Like, I do think they kind of need to hone it in on certain things. I don't think the trend of being simplistic is a bad trend, but when you start to have the weddings that come in and they do everything themselves, right? So last year, we had a U-Haul truck pull up, and they are able, our couples are able to bring their items in ahead of time, and we do a final appointment and we go over all the details. Well, this particular couple literally brought in a U-Haul, did all of their centerpieces, made all of their favors, and it was gorgeous. But it was a lot of decor and it was a lot of setup. So you really need to hone in on the decor. I think it's not everything is necessary. It's nice to have, and it's nice to give people a little bit of everything, but it's not necessary. So that would be cringeworthy. Just too much decor.
Just like an explosion of everything.
Yes. And it all looked gorgeous. I don't want to say anything bad about it because it did all look amazing, and everything just correlated together, and it just was beautiful, but it was just a U-Haul is a little excessive.
Yeah, that's a bit much.
And it's, you have some of these couples that tell you that they're going to have a lot of stuff, and we're like, all right, well, do you have a U-Haul? They're like, no. I'm like, go.
You'd be surprised.
Yes, you would be surprised, but I would say that would be the most cringeworthy, though.
Yeah, I could definitely see that would be a little bit of a okay.
Yes.
One thing to be DIY, it's another thing to move in.
Yes. That's a good way to put it.
Now, what about like a unique or like a fun idea you've seen recently?
So a thing that I actually really like is neon signs are becoming like really popular, and it's not like, I like all of them. Some of them are like the couple's last name. We had another one that did and this is obviously golf themed, but they put let's party.
Oh.
So it was like PARTEE, which I love. Like I like incorporating like the place that you're getting you're getting married at. You need to like work with the surroundings and everything, which I thought that was really cool. And I also like we've seen some that are like love you more, kind of like that. And it's just sweet. I like that saying because then they can have that forever. They can put that up in their house if they really wanted to, if they have like a bar downstairs or something like that. So I like those.
That's honestly so sweet because then it's a light memory of the day too.
It is. And we've seen them, like, we've done them by like their sweetheart table. We've done them behind the sweetheart table in front of the DJ if they want something like that. They sometimes will do like a flower wall backdrop, and they'll have the neon sign like that. So you can utilize it for anything. That's what I kind of like too. And it's just nice when they kind of let us figure out the best spot for it, or, we get their vision and see if we can make it come to life kind of thing. So it's good in that sense. That's
beautiful. And, the fact that like each one is different brings in the actual couple's personality.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's a great way to put that too. It's a way for them to show their personality too, because not everybody has to do the last name of what they're going to be or whatever the case is. It is very cute to do different personalities.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm like, ooh, I got to file that away for if and when I get married.
Yes, you absolutely do.
Do you have any advice for, someone just starting out on their planning journey?
I always tell my couples, whether they book with me or not, you need to have fun with the process. This is supposed to be a fun time of your life, and it's not supposed to be stressful. And I literally tell them when it does become stressful, just take a step back from it. You obviously are doing too much. You take a step back, you have a glass of wine one night, and then you get back to the planning when you're ready to do it. It can be very overwhelming. But again, you have to have fun with the process. And it's, the thing with weddings and planning it is it's all this rush around to get your venue planned, to get all your vendors in place, to make sure everybody's available for that one date. And then it's nothing. You have just and then you just go on cruise control and you just kind of sit there and you don't have any planning because you have everything that's set. And then you maybe need to wait 6 months before you start to plan again. Obviously, that's dependent on how long you have to plan, but I think couples stress about, well, what am I supposed to do during this time? You don't have to do anything. If you want to do research, create a vision board at that time to figure out what you truly like and dislike, that's the time that you use for that. But really, the ultimate goal, have fun with the process. It's supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be stressful.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's like, you're getting married. It doesn't have to be a burden.
No, and rely on the people that do it for a living. Like we're in this position for a reason, so we're willing and able and want to help.
I love that.
Yeah. Thank you.
So what about Lake of Isles would you say makes you the most unique?
I love that we have a sister company of Foxwoods Resort Casino. It is super amazing that we have such close by amenities. I love that we are kind of like a diamond in the rough. We are located in literally Connecticut woods, and there's still people to this day. You know, we've been here for we're celebrating our 20 years this year.
I saw that.
So it's exciting, right? And we still have some people come here and they're like, we had no idea you were here, but we are kind of hidden. We're off the beaten path, which is a blessing and a curse, I would say. But that's when you try to get markets out there and you try to have word of mouth. And I have so many couples that will come and tour the facility and say, you know, I didn't know about this place, but I know so-and-so got married here. And that is wonderful. That's like the biggest compliment that you can have, basically. But I think we're kind of secluded back here, which I love. And we are, like I said, around Connecticut woods. We have waterfront. We have the beautiful lake. So obviously weather pending, you're able to get married with the lake surrounding you. And then you can kind of party inside and have a safe plan. So you're not worried about tents or anything like that. And it's just a great flow. Like we just have a great flow throughout the clubhouse and everything. So it works. I like to call, if you're looking for rustic elegance, this is the place to come.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I know, like the bridges especially, I'm like, oh, the pictures must be so beautiful. I mean, I've only been over them on a golf cart, but people with their whole setup and their dress, I'm like, that just must be so spectacular.
It is, and it's really nice. And so the only people that are allowed out on the course are going to be the couple that's getting married, which is kind of nice. They should enjoy that time away for that little bit of time that they have and really actually, you know, savor the moment that they just got married and just have a moment to themselves out there away from the organized chaos that they've been planning for the past year. And then it's great for them to come back to the party. So it's just a good setup. It's a good flow here.
That's so beautiful because they get to have their moment and take in the really picturesque view and just have their little oasis and then go back into the party.
Yes, absolutely.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So what about the most extravagant event or the most extravagant wedding you've ever put on?
So we had this one event, and when I toured them, I really thought that they were joking about this, but they were like, yeah, we're going to bring vanilla ice in. We're going to really kick it off and da-da-da.
No.
And I was like, yeah, okay. All right. You know, and they signed the contract and everything. Throughout the planning, they were talking about Vanilla Ice's agent. I'm like, this is really happening.
Wow.
So he came here. I would have to say that was the most extravagant all around. Talk about decor and everything. They had florists coming in from New York City. They had Vanilla Ice to kind of get the party started with everybody. And it was kind of surreal to be a part of that day.
Yeah.
And it was crazy that actually was here.
That's incredible. I mean, talk about a moment to stop, collaborate, and listen.
That was a good one. Yeah, it was crazy. But then it was crazy. It was a crazy experience. But that particular couple, they did it so well because they utilized all the amenities over at Foxwoods. They did rehearsal dinner and a welcome party over there. They got married at a local church, came here. It was they did it right. I know they had Vanilla Ice, so it's kind of hard to top that, but they did it right on all aspects.
Right. Everything was check, check, check.
Yes, it was. But they got they had these, literally they built trees here to surround it was like a enchanted forest in the ballroom, which it was gorgeous, but it's just it's crazy. They completely transformed their ballroom.
It's a bit maximalist, I would say.
Yes. Not simplistic, exactly. Oh, that's too funny.
So that really is. I'm like, my gosh, I wish I could have been a fly on the wall.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool to see, but I'm just never will I ever experience this in my life again.
Yeah, you're like, wow, take it in.
Yep. It was cool. It was cool to be a part of.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So now, in terms of your availability right now, how far in advance are you booked?
So I have some people asking about 2027, but we have people that are booked, I would say, I think we have somebody as late as November of 26.
Okay.
Which 27, they're not super eager to come in and tour. They definitely have time, but I would say the average time with booking, people are usually a year to a year and a half.
Okay.
November 26th is I'm surprised I actually don't have any 2027 just yet. Even for the springtime of 2027.
They'll start coming in probably.
They will. They're not engaged yet. That's what it is.
That'd do it.
Yes.
And now with guest count, in terms of flexibility, what is it like if there's, say, a change in the number of people who are coming?
So we basically require counts only 9 days prior. So we have certain packages that have certain minimums, right? So if you don't hit that minimum, there's ways to make that up, and we can just add we add more food essentially. So we're making sure that they hit that number, but we're still giving them value for what they're paying for. There is flexibility in that. Once the contract is signed, there's flexibility with what you can do to that number. So we have, for the most part, people will pick the package that applies to them the most in terms of what they think they're going to have a guest count. And then we require their final count 9 days before they come in, which is super reasonable. I know a lot of places that do like a whole month. But we basically will work with them. And what's really great is that we utilize a larger banquet round table. So we can actually fit anywhere from 8 to 12 guests at those tables, which is great flexibility for them, because sometimes you do have a table of 10 people, but then these 2 people really only talk to those 10 people. So it's great that you can fit them all in. But yeah, we're fairly flexible with guest count. And I am willing to work with people. It's obviously harder to do that on a Saturday, have more flexibility on like a Friday or a Sunday. But if you don't ask the question, you're not going to know the answer. So I always encourage people to ask the questions. If, say they only have 100 people, well, maybe it's best to get married in these months, or maybe we can do a Friday with these certain packages. But yeah, I'm willing to work with anybody.
That's cool. It's good to be flexible. And
it is.
9 days is really reasonable. Yeah.
Yes.
Could you give us like an average event size and cost at the venue?
Recently, I would say our average size is like 150 to 175 for guests. And that includes everybody too. So that will include like kids. We're kid friendly. Like you can still have kids at your wedding if you want kids at your wedding. That will include vendors. That includes all your guests, everybody. And in terms of cost, I would say it ranges really anywhere from, I would say like 20,000 to, and that's really just dependent on the food that you want served, just with food costs that are astronomical right now. But I would say that would be a good range. It's like a good rule of thumb is like 150 people is going to be about $25,000.
Okay. And the deposit for that?
So the deposit, in order to confirm the date, that's going to be basically $2,500. That confirms your date, so nobody else can have that date, which is wonderful because we do one wedding a day here, which keeps everybody sane. And then we do basically like a payment. And we have some people, like I have a relationship with the father of a bride that he calls me pretty much once a month, and he will like chip away at it. So he'll put a certain amount on. You don't need to do that. We basically have that initial payment at first. Then you do a 6-month payment beforehand, which is calculated to be about half of what the whole total is going to be. And then we have the estimated, but obviously I won't know that final number until 9 days prior, just based on what their final count is.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
And so then in your cancellation policy, can you tell me about that?
Sure. So we have different, it depends on how many days in advance you cancel. So we have it broken down with that. So if you already have like your initial deposit down and your 6-month payment down and you're canceling like 60 days prior, you will get a portion of that back, but it's only going to be like 25% of that. The $2,500, that's non-refundable. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. So you would just get 25% of essentially that 6-month payment.
Got it. Okay.
We hope that people don't cancel, just because that doesn't usually, that doesn't mean anything great for the couple. But I definitely give options in terms of that. And we've had some people that are still going to get married, but they're just not ready to commit to that date and they want to cancel that date. And I am lenient and flexible to the point where what we say is postpone. So you basically take any deposit you have and you transfer that to another date, essentially. Now, that's not to say if you're getting married in 2026 and you don't think you're ready to get married in 2029, there's limitations on that.
Right.
So, I just work with each individual couple to kind of figure out what works best for them.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Good that it's tailored individually because everything's different.
They absolutely are.
It's not even apples and oranges. It's apples and bricks.
Yes. You're exactly right about that.
Do you have an in-house catering service, or do couples usually bring their own catering?
So we actually have a policy where we actually provide all the food and beverage because we do everything here. So when I say that 20,000 to 30,000, that range, that is going to include all of your food. We take care of all the linens, tables, chairs, all of that stuff. That's not to say that there's not upgrades throughout. Like if you wanted to upgrade chairs or upgrade linen, you certainly could do that. That's obviously just additional. But we actually have 3 different kitchens here. So we basically have a banquet side, which we do all of our weddings for. We do have members that are a part of the golf club because we have 2 different golf courses. So we kind of have like a member side and a public side. And then we have a restaurant downstairs. So we take pride in doing our own catering here.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Quite the outfit you got going on over
It
there.
is. It works though. It works very well actually. It can be hectic sometimes when we have members here for dinner and a wedding going on and then, golfers coming off the course, but we make it work.
When it's all good things, it's just a lot at the
Yes.
same time. Yes.
Yes. It's just busy for 5 hours and then it's done.
Right.
Yes. That's why I'm so thankful that we do one wedding a day because I don't even know. I don't even know how that would work here.
Yeah. Logistically, it sounds like a nightmare. I don't know how it does that.
Yes. Well, because a lot of people will ask, like, are we going to see golfers here? I'm like, you might see golfers, but golfers usually like to come in the morning and golf and then get the heck out of here or go to the casino or whatever the case is. And weddings usually come towards the afternoon, evening. So it works out.
Right. People are kind of in 2 different waves.
They are. And the golfers are petering out as the wedding guests are starting their night.
Right. Do you have preferred venues that you recommend? Are couples required to use them?
We do. We have a great relationship with a couple of vendors that we use, from photography to makeup to all of that. They're not required to use them. It's just they know our facility so well. They've been here numerous times. So it just makes it nice for everyone just to kind of work together like we do. But they're certainly not required to use them. They're preferred because we like them, but they're not mandatory.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
It's always good to have your dream team,
Absolutely. Yeah. It's nice too when we see that if they're on our list, we're like, oh, they have them. Oh, they have them. And it's just, it's good morale.
Yeah. It's like, okay, I'm going to see these people. It's good to have your team set.
Yes.
But then it's also good to meet new people too. So
It is.
that's
Because yes, you absolutely can build off of that as well. I would agree with that.
What's the max capacity of the venue?
So if you're doing a wedding that requires a dance floor, it's 250 guests, but they would have to do a round head table as opposed to a sweetheart table, just for fitting everybody.
Got it. Okay. And then do you guys do ceremonies or just reception?
We do ceremonies, so we basically max out 250 at each. So it would be 250 out on the lakefront deck, and then 250 inside. And then just keep in mind that the inclement weather plan, if we're not able to go outside for the ceremony, would be the ballroom.
Got it. Okay.
Which is still gorgeous because we have beautiful windows in there. So it's as if we're outside, but we're not out in the elements, is what I usually tell people.
That's a perfect combination because then you have the best of both worlds and you don't have to worry about inclement weather or a nor'easter coming through.
Yes.
But they do. And I remember going up the giant escalator in Foxwoods during a nor'easter and going, gee, I hope those windows hold.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, I gotta take the elevator.
They didn't end up losing power. I feel like they have lost power once that I ever remember.
I don't think I think I would remember. It was definitely a good day to be inside.
Yes, it's still scary with all the windows over there, though. Yeah.
You're like, oh my gosh, and you're going up above the trees, and you see the trees shaking.
Yeah. Yes. Yep. So there is a bridal suite. We usually only allow couples to get here an hour and a half beforehand. It's usually going to be a time if they're interested in doing first look, or if they want to do some pictures. Even if they want to do pictures separately, they can go ahead and do pictures separately. But we do have the bridal suite, typically available for the brides at first. And then once they see each other, it's available for anyone. And it's really just a room for them to, if they wanted to change in here, they certainly could. Or if it's a room, if they just want to get away from people and recharge their social battery, they can certainly do that. And just keep bags in here that they don't necessarily need in the main ballroom. So, but yes, we do have one. And then when they're greeted upon arrival, we typically will have a wait staff kind of in that front lobby area that we have that really guides everybody as to where they need to go, which is wonderful because what's worse than walking into a place and not knowing where the heck you are?
Right. You don't want to have any guesswork on your wedding day.
Right. And we're really fortunate that we have a public restaurant that's downstairs. So we essentially will guide everyone down there. If they want to grab a drink before the ceremony, they absolutely can. Or if they're coming here from the ceremony and want to grab a drink before cocktail hour starts, we just kind of keep everyone down there. And then when it's time to start, we'll invite them out to the lakefront deck or the ballroom, wherever that may be. And then what's really great, we're on a golf course. We have golf carts. So we always offer a 6-person valet cart that will actually drive. It's usually for elderly guests or anybody that might need additional assistance down to the deck, but who doesn't want to take a golf cart ride sometimes?
Right.
Yeah, so it could be available for them as well. So they'll have a couple of different options to kind of see staff throughout as they come in.
Okay. That's great because, it's good to have options. It's good to be accessible. And, it's good to be thinking of all those contingencies too.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great.
And we want to make sure we take care of the grandmas.
Right. Make sure nobody's, hoofing it too far.
Exactly.
Do you have any noise ordinances or any curfews?
No noise ordinances, but we do have a curfew that we don't serve past midnight. So we like to tell our couples that you can essentially pick whatever 5 hours you want. Another restriction or things that we tell them to think about is you always want to make sure you know what check-in time is at the hotels. And then in terms of being outside, we won't schedule anything outside after sunset. We just don't want people kind of meandering around at night. So those are kind of the parameters. But honestly, in the summertime, a lot of people will pick the same time. It's usually going to be 5 or 5:30. So then they end, anywhere from 10, 10:30, 11. And then they can go across the street to Foxwoods and they can continue the party or do, a lot of times people will just kind of meet at a bar over there. Or they'll do their own thing. There's enough activities over there for them to do their own thing.
That's great.
Yeah.
Such a good resource because, talk about an all-night party.
No, it does not. It's wonderful.
Now, for your parking, I've been there and seen you have pretty decent parking.
Yeah.
So you have, ample parking. Is it complimentary?
It's complimentary, yes. We don't offer valet parking anymore. We do at a fee, but honestly, since COVID, it's just kind of petered out. But we do have ample parking. And again, people will go back to the golfers versus wedding guests, right? So it's kind of one hand washes the other. As the golfers are leaving, the wedding is coming in. And what's really great is if we have couples that have a room block that's set up over at Foxwoods, they will traditionally, upon availability, they traditionally would do a complimentary shuttle service, which means we would have even less cars here, which is kind of nice. And it's really nice more so at the end of the night to just have people get on that shuttle safely back to the casino.
Got it. Okay. It's such a good option because then you have, you don't have to worry about even, forget the grandmas, anyone in heels.
Yes, I know. Like us.
Right.
I know.
I have to walk all this way. Yeah.
It is a little ways to, the clubhouse is far from the parking lot, but at the same time, if people did need assistance when they arrive, we could also drive that valet cart out there to pick them up if they needed additional assistance.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of vendors accessing the venue for setup on the wedding day, how does that work?
Yeah, so the idea is that they are able to arrive 3 hours prior so we can get a little bit of setup done for them when the couple comes an hour and a half beforehand. If they do need, a lot of them would work with me and contact me and ask me that same question. If there is a way for me to get them in earlier, if they're really concerned about setup, I just work with them on an individual basis. I can't always guarantee that we can have earlier time for them, but certainly like to offer it if we can or want to accommodate if we can.
Okay.
But traditionally, to answer your question, 3 hours prior to the start time.
3 hours, you said?
Yep.
Cool. Okay. And then the day of, is there an event coordinator or a manager on site?
There absolutely is. Yeah. It's banquet manager or a day of coordinator. That person basically, we have a couple of things. So they basically do all their planning with me. Day of, they'll have that coordinator to make sure that person stays on track and make sure they're where they're supposed to be when they are supposed to be. And then additionally, we will assign essentially a bridal attendant to the bride and groom or the couple of that day to make sure they're eating and drinking throughout the day. Person can get them drinks, or if cocktail hour has started, but they're still doing pictures, we can bring them some hors d'oeuvres. So we kind of take care of them. But yes, we do have a day of coordinator that kind of does all the setting up and planning, and again, make sure everything stays on schedule.
That's great.
Yeah.
So for your guests and the couples, who's the main point of contact for the event?
So I'm the main point of contact, but then once we have a final appointment with them, I kind of pass the baton to the day of coordinator, because that's the person that's going to be taking care of everything. But that actual day, I'm usually like the morning person. And if any like last minute details need to be taken care of, then I will take care of it. But that day of coordinator will take care of ceremony. If they had a rehearsal the day before, that person would be there for that. So they kind of, butt me out of the way and they take over.
Okay. One hand washes the other again.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
You lead with the golfers.
Yeah, exactly. I fade off into the sunset.
Not the hero Gotham needs, but the one it deserves.
I love that.
And then in terms of like you guys, how involved are you in the planning process?
We're fairly involved just in terms of we're fairly involved of the timeline when they're here, right? So we want to know when they arrive. We want to know what is expected of them when they arrive. Do they want to do first look? Do they not want to see each other? Because we keep them separate, obviously, if they don't want to see each other. So we're fairly involved. We want to make sure that they're getting whatever it is they want out of that day besides being married. We want to make sure that they're getting what they want. We kind of have a nitty gritty down to the line, timeline and stuff. But that's not to say that we're not flexible with that. This is what works for us. This is what we've done in our experience. However, we can do something else if they present us with something different that they want to do.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
It sounds like you guys are really flexible and really accommodating.
Yeah, we try to be.
Well, thank you so much. Those are all the questions that I have.
Great.
Thank you for coming on. Thank Bethany, and thank you for the whole Lake of Isles team for agreeing to do that.
Yeah, thank you for asking. I love doing this kind of stuff and just kind of getting what we do out there. And it's a great place. And even just to come visit, if you're not getting married, it's a great place to visit, do a round of golf or have some dinner on our patio outside. It's beautiful.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, Bethany.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Eventful Endeavors, Secrets to Crafting the Perfect Celebration. We hope to have left you with some actionable ideas for your own event. If you like the show, please subscribe and definitely leave us a review. We read every comment. So until next time, happy planning and see you soon on Eventful Endeavors.